My stubborn feathery friend. A short piece on an unusual experience. I don't know what his problem is. Why does he always stare at me? I said this out loud, sipping my hot coffee when my mother walked in. No way, she tooted. I hate this new generation. She slammed the window shut and began cursing the neighbor's boy, who apparently became a culprit for no reason. It was a breezy afternoon when wind chimes and melodies of rustling leaves filled the peaceful silence, and autumn's elegance was emanating through a fresh eucalyptus fragrance. I was standing near my window, greedy to savor every bit of this divine presence. But before the spell of calmness could settle in, my unfortified mind was suddenly hijacked by a pair of eyes that had been on me. Not sure since how long or why. Looks like he's trying to read me, I muttered. I preferred to believe he was extraordinarily intelligent rather than entertain darker possibilities. No, he couldn't be possessed. Surely evil spirits had better things to do than keep watch over me. I try not to be intimidated by the obvious beauty of this flock that has housed itself in the trees in front of our house, instead choosing to be more alert and deduce their everyday actions and understand what planning and plotting is happening this time on those high branches. Caution, after all, is not paranoia. Initially, it was just a cup-of-time fika moment to revitalize myself during the short breaks I took while working from home. But then I noticed that amidst those ruffles and flutters, grunting and pecking, hops and head bobs, there was some covert operation in progress. Nothing was random. And when the evil neighbor's new gilt tray with fresh mango pickle fell on the car top, I was convinced that their mission was finally successful. Sure, those neighbors deserved that, no doubt. But why does he stare at me every day? Am I his next target? Unlike those new tenants, I am a vegan, animal lover. What beef has he got with me? Although they stayed on the branches all day, their only nest was at our bathroom window, which we had sealed from inside with a plastic mesh, to not disturb our feathery friends. From inside, I could only hear them grunt and simply imagine how their small world would be. There would be some eggs. Maybe the mama was now sitting on them or continuing to weave, making their home even bigger and more comfortable. But never did I get any sneaky glimpse of any egg or any squab. Never, even for a short time, can I believe that animals are less intelligent than humans. In fact, I believe the converse could be truer. It's a proven fact that almost all animals can know if you are ill and can detect cancer. I am surprised why such a powerful ability is rarely talked about among common people but found only in research books, while the gossip of the Jenners is devoured as gospel. Why do you need scientists to tell you that? My grandma would say. Don't you see? Unlike us, they don't need a language to understand others. Well, Grandma, the truth is, for us humans, sometimes even language is not enough. It was only when I read Mike Tyson's autobiography that I became more fascinated by these avian daredevils. And when I researched more about them, I got to know that pigeons can sense time-space reality. Scientists claim they still don't know which part of their brain is responsible for that. So there are some questionable areas about them that we still do not know. Mystery is dangerous. You will never know what power it is hiding. It was karma that took the guise of pigeons to teach a lesson to those evil neighbors, who emptied the bowl of water that the other good Samaritans had placed for these birds. The whole balcony floor is coated with pigeon poop, they would complain. Tit for tat, we never see that on our balconies. These feathery fellas became karma. Now should I fear this one who stares at me every day? One day, I caught my sister sauntering near the window, hiding something in her cotton bag. Looking at the poor creature struggling all day, pulling stems from that pot, my sister had placed a few coconut shell fibres. He collects sticks and fibres for his nest, she said apologetically. Not the delicate twiners or sapless twigs, but this greedy fella goes directly for the long and strong stems that his small body could never uproot, especially the one that hangs from the trailer pot of salon creepers placed on the parapet of our neighbor's house. In order to help him with his responsibility, my sister placed a few coconut shell fibres on our windowsill. And that's where my mystery was solved. He was guarding those fibres, and that's why he gave me that look when I stood near the window. Lady, I am watching you. What business have you got here? Just get inside and let me collect my treasures. Are you going inside or not? What are you looking at? Don't you dare touch my treasure. Io, lady, get inside already for peace sake. I closed the window to let him pick his treasured fibres. He flapped happily and landed on our windowsill, ruffled his feathers on the shell fibres, and picked his favorite ones. But still, his obsession with a bigger stick did not fade, and he was back at the trailer pot in no time to resume his pulling binge. Biting it, he would also jerk his whole body while he free fell, holding the stem in his beak in an attempt to uproot it. There were times I had to warn those standing on the ground about this fella and his circus, for I feared he might pull the whole pot down on someone's head. Remember, I had already witnessed their first crime, the red splash of pickle on the car top. But thankfully he was not so strong, and I don't know when he would learn that fact, give up being so stubborn and stop this madness. It was when our neighbor's kids invited me to their terrace that I got a chance, for the first time, to see this nest from outside. My neighbors Salma and Kala made some shahi tuktas and jalabis and settled on a bamboo mat to continue their gossip. I had to risk climbing on the sloping canopies to catch a glimpse of these pigeons. But as long as these women were there, my desire to see the baby pigeon could never come true. Luckily, Salma craved something savory, and the women went down to their flat to bring some cutlets and sauces. Balancing at the brink of the two canopies, with my elbows resting on the balustrades of the two buildings, I managed to open my camera and quickly zoom in. I was shocked to see that the nest wasn't that big. There was room for only two. I could see a few pieces of eggshells entwined in cobwebs, sticks everywhere, and no babies. Seriously, how would he even get time to bring up a young one if he is so obsessed with only one thing, sticks? One sunny morning, I was opening my gate to park my scooty when an eggshell fell on my hand. I looked up and saw that mischievous fella looking at me, as if proud of his attempt to annoy me. But what did I see next? He turned around, and he had this bright white tail. He turned again to make sure I was still looking at him, as he intended to show it off. "Who are you? Since when have you been here?" As I climbed my stairs halfway, I saw the rest of the adult flock hopping from branch to branch, as if in celebration, knowing that the introduction they were waiting for had finally happened. But what's to say he belonged here? Is this new one their offspring? I zoomed in my camera. He looked at me and bobbed his head, as if to say he's not ready to pose yet. And then he picked up a big stick, to show me proof of his inheritance. I took a deep sigh. Like father, like son, this crazy obsession will never die.